We are live, according to the YouTube machine. How is everybody doing? Let me know if you can hear me okay, guys. I don't have another guest with me. I don't have anyone with me, so I can't tell if you guys can hear me okay. Let me know in the chat. I can see people in the chat, but I need to know if you can hear me okay. All right, awesome. Okay, let's see who is here. Base card collector is first. Brian Sherland, even though you're a Bucks fan, we'll keep you. We'll keep you. Spontaneous hobby chat. That is it. Yeah, guys, I just figured like, hey, why not? Why not? It's Thursday. It's been a long week. And I figured, hey, why not jump on for a little bit? One for the task. Good to see you. AJ Rose, all the way from Japan. Hope you're doing well. Or I assume you're still in Japan right now. Ed Lang. Ryan McClanahan, good to see you, man. At 1911, yeah. Glad you were able to pick up a card from it. Any other non-sports sets you're interested in? Yeah, I'm interested in, well, I shouldn't say there's a boatload that I'm looking at, because I kind of just take it as I see it. As far as the presidential cards go, I think I did also show you this. So this is supposedly from the late 1880s. I was trying to find some early stuff. They are raw, so who knows? There's some interesting there's an interesting stamp on the Abe Lincoln card that reads, Bradford, Connett and Company always offer customers inducements in variety and price that their competitors cannot imitate. See their stock before purchasing. I don't know. But just kind of a cool card. Furniture and Mantles is the John Adams. So I don't know if they sold the card at a furniture store. I don't know. Interesting stuff. Anyway, I like the history. Yeah, and there's also a lot of cards too that are like, Benjamin Franklin, not necessarily presidents, but just kind of important people in history. And I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool. Oh, Mario Andretti at my neighbor's funeral. Yeah, I know. I stirred it up a little bit when I said that he was a goat. I I was wrong in the sense that I believe I said that he's a goat of F1 racing, which really he's probably just more of like a racing goat since he's won F1, he's won the Daytona 500. He's a winner. The guy has won a ton of races, but I'm not going to pretend like I'm an F1 expert by any stretch. But yeah, I definitely stirred it up a little bit in my last video. For those that didn't see it, I got from this 1979 set, Mario Andretti card, Our Heroes World of Sport. I just thought it was an interesting card, interesting set too, just cool art on it. And there's also like a Pele and Muhammad Ali in this set as well. There's some interesting stuff. So yeah, I thought, just some outside of the box, some sports related, but just a little bit outside of my wheelhouse, my typical stuff. Bradley Helston, good to see you. How do you feel about the sports card market right now? From Ricky. Man, I'm really enjoying it. I know that, I think for a lot of people, the sports card market has been either flipping retail products, which has been fun, and people have been able to make money doing it over the last couple of years. That's kind of gone away or definitely gone away, to some degree. And then you also have a lot of people that, were buying raw to then grade to then resell and doing really well on that front too. And, PSA shut down, BGS is behind, shut down a lot of their tiers. SGC is really the only company that is grading quickly, but their resale value is not the same as what you would get from PSA and even BGS in some cases as well. So it's tough. I think that there's a lot of people that came in. It's kind of like the horde of flippers. I think there's some people that are still in, and I think there's some people that came and went. But to be honest, I think that they'll be back. I made a video a couple of weeks ago about 2022 and how I think there's going to be another kind of, I don't know about explosion. I don't know if it's going to be the same, last 2 years, But I do think that once grading companies kind of get that backlog under control a little bit, that it's going to come back to some degree. Is it going to be what it was? I don't know that. I don't know that. Nobody does. But there's not a lack of interest, and there's still new people coming in. So, I think that there's still demand there. It's just a matter of, what's it going to look like? Fanatics will take over in a few years. What's that going to look like? How's it going to compare to how Panini and Topps were doing things? Are there new businesses that will pop up that maybe are exciting, within this hobby that we don't even know about yet? I mean, frankly, when cards really started to pick up steam, it started a few years back, but if we're just talking about pandemic related, spring of 2020, a lot of these new companies, none of these new companies were around, whether it be, the vault companies, the fractional share companies, all the different things that have popped up, different slab holders. And so I guess that's my point is what will it look like a year from now, or 2 years from now? Will those companies go away? Will they expand? Those are all the things that'll be kind of interesting, but I'm enjoying myself. But you know what? I'm all over the place with collectibles as a whole. I just got this today. I also collect graded video games, and this is kind of one of those like legendary games for me. It's funny because the original NES games are the kind of the vintage video games, which I think is kind of funny because with sports cards, vintage sports cards are going back to the 1800s, 1900s, early 1900s, etc. Ancient video games are what I grew up with, which I think is kind of hilarious. Hey, Iconic Trading Cards. Yep, I am doing pretty well. It's busy times. My two older kids, I have 4 kids. My 2 older kids moved in with me over the last few weeks. That was a new addition. So, it's been great, but it's been a lot of work as well. Just kind of getting them up to speed with school and with work, with college stuff, with, everything that's going on with them. So, that's what's kind of slowed me down. I do have another channel, Retro Game Dad, which I'm way behind them. It's been a few weeks since I've even posted a video. I need to get back up to with that. And then I'm just trying to keep my regular channel here going as well too. So, but yeah, it's just been wild times. Great. It's been really fun, but it's just been a lot of work. And how are you guys doing? Let me know in the chat. What's new with you guys? Are you collecting anything in particular? Anything you want to talk about? I'm just kind of showing up here. I'll throw out some thoughts, but you guys kind of dictate it. I'm totally fine with whatever you guys want to talk about. Yeah, Ziggy, I've got 4. I've got 2 from my first marriage, and then I've got 2 with my wife. So, yeah, we're full house. We're a full house now. So it's been wild, but it's been fun. Yeah, the NES thing is fun. I collect a lot of the ones that I played. So of course it's like the Zelda stuff. Contra is a game that I played a ton of as a kid. I picked up, a lot of it too is the box art is really cool. And what you're seeing now is a lot of the digital games. A lot of the games are digital, so will there be, cartridges like this in the future? I feel like my kids and my grandkids are going to look at this and be like, why were there video games in a box? I think it's going to be kind of funny to, just to see their reactions. And then I'm trying to also buy, the Marios and the Zeldas, IPs that I think will be important down the line. Will Mario still be around in 20 years? I think so. I think he'll still be relevant. Same with Zelda. These are long time franchises. So I think, that's been kind of fun. And then also I've been buying for the original NES, their original 30 games are called the Black Box series. So the first 30 games are the black box type games. It's Super Mario Brothers, it's volleyball, there's soccer, there's baseball, duck hunt, so I'm trying to collect those 30 over time. I'm not trying to do it all in one shot, and they're not inexpensive either. So just kind of doing it in stages. All right, let me get back to cards. Sorry, I had to show you some of the gaming stuff. As CGC soon to be grading video games, improve the video gaming market, make it rise in popularity. I don't think it hurts to just have a few more players in there. And CGC is a very reputable company, so it's not as if it's a brand new company coming in. I don't think it's a bad idea, for CGC to be in there. And then VGA, who purchased VGA? I am drawing a blank on it. AFA is the action figure grading company, and VGA is the video game one. But there's a big company. Was it CGC that bought them out? I don't think it was. I feel like it was a different company, but I could be wrong. I'm drawing a blank there. But yes, I do think that the graded video game thing, I think it's got to mature. I think it's got to mature a little bit. It's still brand new, highly speculative, all sorts of things that that have got to be worked out. Marvel cards, I'm more into the comic books. So I've been looking at, because the Marvel stuff, I love the old Marvel comic books, graded stuff. I've been looking actually, though, at DC, because DC, I like this new Batman movie that they're coming out with. I like the trailer. So what I've been looking at is kind of the Silver Age, Golden Age, like appearances of the Joker. I picked up Batman Comics 332, and it's a 7.0 CGC. Just kind of a price point I wanted. But if you look at like the pop report on that stuff, it's so low compared to sports cards. And this is it's a Joker appearance with a cool cover from 1964. But there's Golden Age stuff too from the 40s. Like there's Joker appearances going back to like the 40s, 50s. And so that stuff interests me at the right price. It's all about the price point. I'm not trying to, spend a small fortune on that stuff. But I just think that's kind of an, historically. And again, I'm looking for which characters will be relevant in 20 years. Batman, Superman, the Joker, the Riddler. I don't think they'll stop making shows and movies about these characters. So I've been looking into a lot of different stuff, guys. And then on the card front, I'm always looking at different things. Just sign on. What are your thoughts? I honestly don't know much about this. I saw a headline, but I'm not going to pretend like I dug deep into it. Maybe others in the chat know a little bit more about this. Is this, and I think they call it a rug pull. Is this where they sold a bunch of stuff and then they pulled the rug and it's all to zero? I don't know. And I'll be honest, I talked a little bit on a video a few days ago, and of all the collectible type things, the only NFTs I've got are NBA Top Shot. I got in on them early. I got into NBA Top Shot December of last year, thanks to Chris, Vegas Fine 777. He got me involved in it. Just shared it with me. It was like, hey, check this out. I didn't know anything about NFTs. Those are the only NFTs I own. And I like the fact that the NBA has licensing. I like the fact that Dapper's going to, with all the flaws and different things that Dapper's trying to work through, I like the fact that they have NFL licensing now, but I'm concerned about the art NFTs. I think the art NFT thing is, it goes beyond speculative. It's just kind of like you're just throwing money out there and hoping for the best. And it just feels like everybody's got an animal that they're selling, a raccoon or a bear or whatever, lizard, or something. And it's so expensive to get in. The entry point is so expensive. I mean, you're talking about 1 ETH, 2 ETH, 3 ETH just to get in. It's like, 1 ETH is $4,500 right now. It's like, no, there's just other things that I'll look at. OBJ to the Bucks. You think so? I mean, the Bucks have everybody else. They have every other, receiver, that in the league, I feel like. I don't think they're going to sign Phillip Rivers. I saw that, though. I did see Rivers on an interview saying that, he'd be open to have a discussion. I know that they've also been talking about Drew Brees, like, hey, why not talk Drew Brees into coming and finishing out the season? I think that my gut tells me they're going to stick with Trevor Siemian and just use Taysom Hill in his wildcat type, the what's effective for him. I wouldn't be mad if Taysom Hill started the game either and played all the way throughout. Either way would work for me, but I think that they're going to go with that kind of brand of football that we do. It's Brees with Taysom Hill, jameis with Taysom, and now I think it'll be Trevor Siemian. He knows the offense well enough. He showed that he was, he wasn't amazing. Trevor Siemian wasn't amazing, but he was good enough, so we'll see. He's made 25 NFL starts, so he's got a little bit of experience. I don't feel great about it. Let's be frank. I don't feel great about our Super Bowl, championship aspirations, but our defense is good. So who knows? We've got a shot every Sunday, and I think that's all you can ask for is just a chance. Grading comics makes sense when you lock in their value, ensure they appreciate value. Buying raw is better for reading. Oh, yeah. If you want to read the comics, then absolutely. And there are a lot of, what's kind of cool too, is you can get some pretty rare key books that are just reader copies. In other words, they're just trashed. I mean, outside of like, X-Men #1 from 1963 or Fantastic Four #1, they'll still grade though. Even if they're trashed and they grade out at a 0.5 or a 1.0, they'll still sell for a lot of money. But in a lot of cases, you can get reader copies. And then also Marvel, what is it called? Marvel Universe or something. There is an app that you can read all their comics. If you're interested and you just want to get caught up on certain, Marvel comics, I think it's like $10 a month, but you can literally go back to like Amazing Spider-Man #1, Amazing Fantasy 15, and read those stories online, which I think is kind of cool. I haven't tested that out, but I saw that and I was like, dang, that's really cool. Lots of scams and NFTs. I've been scammed on a few projects. They sell, they don't deliver, or roadmaps, or just go dark. It just seems like, people talk, you talk about like sports cards being Wild West, or, some of this stuff. NFTs are like the real Wild West, from what I mean, just the way that for me, I'm just too conservative. I think that's probably my problem. I probably have lost out on opportunity in NFTs, where if I had just got the MetaMask and got into certain projects, I could have made money doing it. But I just feel like you're just throwing money out there and hoping for the best. And, in sports cards, sure, you're doing kind of similar stuff, or graded comic books or graded video games or any of it. It's all speculative. But for me, it's just NFTs it's just too new. I wouldn't mind getting into NFTs in a couple of years when some of that stuff has been ironed out. There's a little bit more kind of structure to it. And maybe there won't be the same sort of 100x type opportunities. But I've been actually more into buying the crypto behind the NFT projects, So, I'm not a crypto expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I look at how much ETH is, Ethereum, and then I look at some of the other kind of coins, tokens that are also kind of, backing up the NFTs that are sitting on, and in a lot of instances, they're a lot more efficient. When you buy using Ethereum, you get hit with gas fees, which are very expensive. There are more efficient ways of buying NFTs. They're just not popular, and it doesn't make any sense to me. So that's the thing. It just feels like a market inefficiency. So what I've been doing is I do own a little bit of ETH, but then I'm hedging against, some of that, hedging against ETH and buying into some of the other vehicles, some of those other tokens that are delivering NFTs. They just might not be popular right now. So, man, Tales from the Crypt was I used to watch that show when I was a kid. So my grandparents had HBO. My family was very middle class. We could not afford HBO, and Tales from the Crypt was on HBO. That was such a great show with the Crypt Keeper. I still remember the intro. My grandparents lived in an old Victorian house in Vermont. And it was scary. Like it was like mahogany staircase. It was like we were, it was the perfect dark house for Tales from the Crypt and, Outer Limits and Twilight Zone and all that stuff. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't have any of those kind of older, or like the horror comics. I don't have any of those, but I love some of those 50s, from kind of my dad's generation, 50s, kind of early 60s stuff. I think that's really cool. So not to say that I would never purchase it. I just haven't really dug deep on that stuff yet, Ryan, but I think it's interesting. I enjoy learning about it for sure. Yeah, Walking Dead comics. Yeah, that's so funny because the Walking Dead comics came out, to very little fanfare, and then they made a TV show about it, and then the comic books, like the Walking Dead #1 is an expensive book, but that just kind of came out, was just like, oh, just another book, and then they made a hit show around it. It was kind of interesting. Thoughts on PSA boasting about being able to grade 40,000 cards a day? Yeah, I'm putting a video together. Spoiler alert on that. But because the thing that was kind of interesting is I also follow GemRate on Instagram. Great follow if you haven't been on their site. But basically, they're giving data as to how many cards PSA is grading, what types of cards those are. That'll be a video that comes out here soon. But the thing that was interesting, though, is October was a slow month in comparison to previous months for PSA, according to their data. So I didn't really understand where Nat was set, like, and maybe that's just something that they've hit now, like in the last week or so. Week 10 days, they're hitting 40,000 a day, because according to that GemRate data, it was showing more like 25,000 a day. It had gone down from previous months. In other words, they had graded more cards in September than they did in October. So those numbers didn't jive. But it wouldn't shock me that they could grade 40,000 cards in a day. I don't think that's, they've hired so much. They've been training graders, according to a lot of the reports. So I'm not surprised, but it's just kind of like, man, that's a lot of supply that's coming. What type of supply is it? There's all the speculation on what kind of cards are coming back. How much of it is ultra modern, how much of it is modern, how much of it is vintage, etc. I've noticed, a lot of people have said like, a lot of that's just the ultra modern stuff. But the one thing I did notice, I was looking at pop reports on late 80s basketball, because I've bought some of that stuff and I just enjoy it. I love it. Meaning like 88 Fleer All-Star Michael Jordan, or 88 Fleer All-Star Larry Bird or Magic. And those cards, a year ago, those pop reports were way lower than they are now. They've dramatically gone up to where, like, you have like 500 cards on the list, a year ago, like 500 PSA 9s, and now there's 3,000 PSA 9s, which if you're looking at, millions of cards, that's not a huge jump, but it is when you're talking about supply. If you're buying, if there's 500 and now there's 4 or 5 times that amount, that's a significant increase. So, and that was just one thing that I noticed. So it was just kind of one, set of cards. So I didn't look at everything, but yeah, so I think it's going to be very interesting to see, where those, kind of the populations across the board. And I'll probably be buying a lot more sports cards in 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, when I can actually kind of see where that backlog sits, where I can kind of see it a little bit better. I know people will say like, well, there's protection with numbered cards, older vintage stuff. And that is true to some degree, but I still want to see how that shakes out. Cards and comics, I have not bid yet. I've been following different auctions on Heritage, and I use them because I also do buy graded video games. I don't know if you saw, but I've been picking up different graded video games, just stuff that I played as a kid that I enjoy. And then also, stuff, kind of IPs that I think will be important, characters that I think will remain relevant over time, like Link, Zelda, and Mario Brothers type stuff. I have not bid on them, but I do check kind of their sold listings. You can see Heritage Auctions has sold listings for comic books or games or whatever it is. And you can kind of get an idea of some sort of comp, because a lot of the stuff doesn't have tons of comps. So yeah, I've never bid on an auction, but I'm set up to. I haven't been on at the right times to do it. Have you ever bid? Have you had a good experience with Heritage? I have not. I'm signed up, but I've never been a buyer. I've never been a customer yet. Dexflow, I am not selling it. I'm just going to hold on to it. It's a PSA 3, so it's not a high grade or anything, but it is. But it's, for me, that's definitely one of the more rare cards that I've got as far as just condition, everything. Even though it's a 3, still not tons of them out there. And Jim Brown, arguably the best running back of all time, arguably the best football player of all time. Some people argue that, but I'm just going to hold on to it. I'm just going to sit on it. All right, there was another one here. Oh, you've purchased many Golden Age comics. Yeah, I'm starting to look harder at Golden Age stuff. I think that, what's interesting too is kind of the early Marvel stuff, but also what was the name of the brand that was coming up? It was before Marvel. It was Stan Lee was working on, was it Time? I can't remember the name of the publisher. It was pre-Marvel, but it was Stan Lee was working on. He was working there. There's comics that are out there. They're out there, and I just think that's interesting, just from a historical standpoint, with Stan Lee being such a legend. If you can let me know that, because that's there was Tales of Suspense and some of those older Amazing Fantasy, but there was another one though, Timely Comics. Timely Comics. I'm not sure. Timely. Yep. Timely Comics. So yeah, that's the type of stuff where I'm like, that's interesting. I'm looking into all that. Drake, what's up, man? Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a minute. I feel like on Instagram, I like your stuff. You got a lot of nice Peyton Manning, Breeze stuff. Love it. I am not sure what to think about our Saints, man. I am not sure. I think I might go to practice and try out, see if I can get on there. I mean, who knows, right? You got to hey, if you're not trying, then you don't know. Now, I really don't know. And I don't know I got a couple of questions too. Is Jameis Winston going to get re-signed? That's a great question. I think a lot of it's going to depend on how much money does he want? Because he's on a 1-year deal, I think, for maybe like 12 or 13 million. Is he going to give us the same type of deal, or is he going to say, you know what, now I want 20? I don't know. And to be honest, I don't think that, with how much quarterbacks are getting paid now, I don't think 20 million is a crazy ask, even though he got hurt and everything else. He showed that he can lead the team. Now, we have a very good defense, et cetera. So I don't know what direction we're going to go. I don't know if Michael Thomas is out for the rest of the year. So the other part is it's not like Jameis is throwing to, Tom Brady's throwing us to a much better receiving core than Jameis is with us, and we're somehow making it work with our D. So yeah, I don't know. Good question. I'm not really sure where we're going. I hope it's somewhere good, but we'll see. Coming in late. Yeah, Michael Thomas out for the year. Crazy Kev. I know. My entire fantasy football team is demolished. I had Russell Wilson, Michael Thomas, Calvin Ridley. I literally have McCaffrey. I have every single guy that's hurt or quitting football or whatever. My fantasy football team it's bad. It is bad news. Yeah, Taysom Hill. I don't believe in Taysom Hill as a long-term QB solution because he's too there's some really good things that he brings to the table, but he's not an accurate deep ball thrower. That's one thing that Jameis is actually a very accurate deep ball passer and an inaccurate short yardage passer. He throws a better 50-yard pass than he does a 10-yard pass. But that was something that our offense, it was great to have it because Breeze's arm strength had slowed down over the last couple of years. So it was nice to be able to run the ball and then for Jameis to be able to throw a 60-yard pass to keep the safeties back so that we can continue to run, keep everybody honest. Oh, well, this one's obvious. Better beard, me or flipping Steve? Steve's got kind of a kingpin look going with he's bald. He's got the beard coming in. He looks like he should be in a Spider-Man comic. He looks like, obviously he's not as big as the Kingpin, but he looks like he could, like he's ruling stuff. Like he's running the town. I think he lives where he lives up in Delaware. He's probably running his town. Steve's a good dude. Although Steve does not understand my graded video game venture that I'm on. And that's okay if you don't either. That's all right. I'm not telling people to go buy anything. Buy what you like, collect what you like. I like a lot of different things. I've got graded starting lineups. I've got all sorts of different things. But yeah, Steve is not. I showed Steve the Legend of Zelda game I got, and he's like, but what are you going to do with that? I'm like, it's a cool display piece. It's like a game that we played as kids. It's awesome. But whatever. Yeah, that 66 Topps Marvel superhero set. And I like that set. And there's Batman cards. There are some cool 60s superhero type card sets. I agree. Yes to the thumbs up. Thumbs up, please. That'll help every little bit. With the Bonds. Oh, I didn't know that there was a Bonds documentary coming out. The Bonds documentary hurt or helped this Sunday on ESPN. Are you talking about like his Hall of Fame chances or just his legacy? Yeah, that's a good question. I think that eventually Barry Bonds will, kind of, I think that it'll be more accepted. I could be wrong. I'm not a baseball guy. So there might be baseball guys that think like, nah, I'm never going to approve of Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa and Barry Bonds and these guys, but Jose Canseco or whatever. But I don't know. I still think that Barry Bonds could hit the ball, even though he had a little bit of help. I think that he could still hit the ball like crazy. Mark McGwire as well, but Bonds was a great hitter. So yeah, I don't know. Good question. Pretty kind of. Yeah, Dakota, you kind of nailed it. I know. It sounds bad, but I promise there is a method to my madness, though. I don't I don't just buy anything. I do put a lot of thought into the long-term prospectus. What do I think that this could look like down the road? Before I buy it. So yeah. But I'm interested in a lot of things. It is true. I'm interested in a lot of different things. I got to end some of my collections. I'm either going to sell my basketball PSA graded packs or my unopened Magic packs. Yeah, that's a tricky thing is when you're spread thin, and I'm in the same boat where I'm spread thin to where there's a lot of things I like, only so many dollars to go around. So yeah, you have to make some tough decisions. Yeah, I agree. And then you're trying to figure out, maybe I should sell some of this. I think that's what I've been doing with some of my smaller end, like $5, $10 cards that just don't serve me, that if I don't care about it, then maybe I should be selling it. Maybe I should just get rid of it. And I do have some of that stuff, smaller stuff where it's just like, maybe I should just auction this stuff that I don't really care about, and go from there. Oh, that's interesting. I collect skateboards. They look nice on the wall. That's cool. Jacob, are they signed? Are they, is there anything, is it like, oh God, what's the big guy? The skater guy, the big guy, like the GOAT of skating. I'm drawing a complete blank. Are any of them like used by pros or signed or anything like that, like memorabilia? Or is it just, you like certain like Fender guitars, where you're collecting them like that, just certain brands that you like from previous years? Tony Hawk. There it is. I don't know how I just drew a blank on Tony Hawk, but yeah, is there, because I know actually Flippin' Steve's collecting Tony Hawk stuff. I just ruined for you, Steve. Yeah, I would love to see you guys start bidding on Tony Hawk stuff. So that Steve's sending me all sorts of weird stuff that he's buying. He's got music stuff that he likes. Tony Hawk. I won't, don't worry, Steve, if you're watching or if you watch later, I won't tell them all the things that you're looking at. But yeah, no, that's funny. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Does he have his own line of skateboards, or is it like he used that board in a tournament or something? And I'm asking because I don't know. I'd like to learn a little bit more about that, because I think that's kind of a cool thing. It makes me think of in the 90s when we were all listening to Pearl Jam and Nirvana and everyone was wearing Vans and Stussy and Massimo t-shirts. Everybody was like in that grunge era. I was terrible at skateboarding, but I like buddies that skateboarded. It was a thing. What do you think of Panini releasing Prism 2021-22 NFT before the Prism physical card? I have not been following this, David, so I don't have really an opinion on it. And I don't know, is it because they're trying to tie one to the other? I don't know, logistically, could that be a reason? I don't know. I mean, are they two separate sets, or is the physical card attaching itself to the NFT in some way? Yeah, graded Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I think this is something to where if this is something that was important to you in your childhood, is there a nostalgia factor? Because I do know people, they're big on Yu-Gi-Oh. It just wasn't for, like, same with Pokemon. I have a 34-year-old younger brother that did collect Pokemon, and so that's more he gets it. Like, he's all about the Yu-Gi-Oh, the Pokemon stuff. It was just past my time. I was outside of that window for that stuff. Okay, Tony Hawk has been making boards since I was a kid. All right. So he has his own line then. And this is, again, like, I don't know anything. I don't know anything about it. Yeah, I'm into cryptos, but hard pass on NFTs. I know it's going to sound kind of, lazy on my end, but for me, it's easier for me to investigate the cryptos, to buy them. It's easier for me to buy it. I don't have to go through the whole process of the MetaMask and all the, making sure everything lines up. I don't have to worry about the gas fees. And so there's probably some laziness on my part to where I haven't gotten into NFTs. So if you're in on NFTs, by all means, like, you've done your research, you know what you're doing. There's a lot of people who have done great in that space. But for me, I just haven't gotten there yet. Outside of NBA Top Shot, I just haven't gotten there yet. And again, the NBA Top Shot was the laziness of the ease of being able to get into it when I did. And that's why I probably got into it. If I had to do the MetaMask and all that stuff to get into NBA Top Shot, probably never would have. Oh, I missed that, Dex. Yeah, and actually, Dex is someone that I've talked to, that has AFA experience. AFA is so for video games, it's VGA, and then AFA is the action figure grading. I didn't know, but you know what? That's not surprising to me at all. I did hear him say a while back that they wanted to kind of be like the collectible spot, kind of like a one-stop shop for collectibles grading. So it doesn't surprise me that toy grading would be a part of that eventually. And Dex, who bought AFA and VGA? Someone just bought them, and I am completely drawing a blank on who that is. The big problem right now, I call it a problem just because it's needed, is we don't, in graded video games, there's no pop reports. VGA doesn't have them, and any public pop reports, and WADA doesn't have them. So like I'm buying games, I don't know how many have been graded. I don't know how many are in circulation. I'm trying to kind of figure out by looking at eBay sold listings, by looking at Heritage sold listings, trying to get an idea, but I'm guessing. A lot of it's guessing. And then also just sticking to like hitting certain price, I've got certain price points where it's like, all right, at this price point, I'm fine. At this price point, I'm like, I don't know how many there are. I'm not spending that much money if there's 1,000 of these or whatever. So yeah, interesting times, but again, it's kind of fun too, because it's kind of the beginning times of a lot of this stuff. If it sticks. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The no pop reports thing. Absolutely. Yeah, of course. Especially on the high end, if you're thinking about, when you see the $1 million video game sale, the $1 million, CGC's got it for comic books. So you can kind of see, okay, and comic books, population's a lot lower than what you see with sports cards in a lot of instances. But yeah, if you're spending huge money, yeah, it's definitely much more risky. I'm not spending huge money on graded video games. So trying to protect myself a little bit there. I'm starting my own line of cards called Busted Losers. The worse they fall, the more valuable. Any takers. I like that. I like that. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. I mean, they are, I guess, no, they're not necessarily grading jerseys. They're just selling them as authentic. Or at least maybe they are. Maybe they are grading that stuff. I haven't seen that yet, though. Oh, you know what? PSA, I believe, is grading, is it bats or balls? I saw that where they're going to have at least population. I'm not sure if they're going to grade it, but they're going to make sure it's authentic, and I think it's bats. I think PSA said they're going to do bats, baseball bats, so if it's Mickey Mantle used bat or whatever. And so they're going to make sure it's authentic. And then they're going to, make a pop report for it. The thing that's kind of interesting though, there is sports memorabilia. A lot of, is just, it's got a hit, it's got a tricky history. There was, I saw an article leading up to the National or after the National. Of course, we saw the FBI was at the National, and they were being, they had interviewed and said, look, I mean, like sports memorabilia has been faked for a long time. And there was a guy that was really prolific at it. And they were speculating. I think that they were looking to see if there was any of that stuff still there at the National, the memorabilia stuff. But whoever this guy was or this group was, they were excellent at it. So that's a thing that's tricky with mem stuff. You've really got to have a good history provenance, for that sort of thing. But I think if you know what you're doing, I don't see how it's any different in a lot of ways with artwork. When you're buying a $10 million painting, like we all are, right? Like when we're all out buying a $10 million painting, you'll hear stories of that, the painting that was sold for millions of dollars that was a fake, so it's not limited to any one market. Any sort of collectible, it can happen. So it's just part of the risk that we all take on, I suppose. Beckett grades balls very sharp. Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, and I'm not, and in part because I'm not a baseball collector. That I'm not as much on the memorabilia side. So I haven't gotten into it yet. I think I saw a documentary. Yeah, Operation Bullpen. I think I saw a documentary on this. Yeah, it was one guy or two guys, and he was great at Mantle, and there was a few others that he was great at too. And so, yeah, that's the thing that stinks about it is that stuff gets into the ecosystem, and you hope it's all gone, but there's probably little bits trickling in and out everywhere. So you just something to keep in mind. 20 years or more. Fortunately for me, I saw sports cars as a long term before it went nuts. Yeah, I mean, yeah, well, it's so it's trying to find the next trend and being on the front end of it. But then, like for me, I also want to be interested in it. So like the graded game thing, the trifecta that kind of worked there is the vintage great video games. This is hilarious to me. Are the games that I played as a kid. I'm 40, so whereas vintage sports cards, that's like generations before me. Video games, like vintage video games, are from the 80s. That's my time. Oh, and by the way, if you guys, if you're into all that stuff, whatever, check out, there's a movie coming out, a holiday movie called 8-Bit, and it is all about a kid in the 80s. It's in like 87, 88, and his journey to get a Nintendo Entertainment System. It might be my favorite movie of all time, and I've never even seen it. I just saw the trailer for it today, and it looks incredible. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent a little bit, but my point is that yes, I want to get on a trend. I want to catch a trend, but then it would be amazing if it's also something that's nostalgic to me that I actually enjoy, because I am buying a lot of this stuff to just to hold on to for a long period and see where it all goes. I think it'll be fun to kind of just see and to share with my kids too, because I think it'll be funny. Like my youngest is 6, and he plays the original Mario Brothers from like 85. And I'm not talking about Super Mario Brothers. I'm talking about the original Mario Brothers. He likes that just as much as he likes Mario 3D World on his Nintendo Switch. He's 6. And so I'm interested to see kind of like 20 years down the road, if he's going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that you have like this box, of like, games were actually sold in cartridges. Now his Switch, of course, is sold in a cartridge, but they're moving away from all that stuff. It's all going digital. So yeah, I kind of I'm trying to have it all. I'm trying to have my cake and eat it too, to where I get it on something on the front end. And then, it's enjoyable for me, so it's something that I actually like too. It's not something that's taking up space and I'm just like, oh my gosh, my spare room is full of this crap that I don't care about. If you need a thumbnail designer or any designer, I'm open for hire and have been a professional for over 11 years. Hit me up. I do brands, ads, TV with all budgets. I appreciate that, Brady. Yeah, actually, send me an email to thepersonalfinancedad at gmail.com if you could, just with your contact information. That way I know how to reach you. So it's thepersonalfinancedad at gmail.com. But yeah, that would be helpful. What are you saying? You don't like my thumbnails? I'm kidding. I'm an amateur with all the thumbnail YouTube stuff. I'm just kind of, it's just good enough to pass, but I'm no expert on any of that stuff. Oh, okay. The squid scam was crypto, not NFTs. They made a fake crypto and disappeared. Okay. Yeah, I saw the headline, but I didn't know exactly what the story was there. This is actually a great point, too. You're right, because there's a perception. There's also, a narrative behind a set or a card. If a certain number of people think that Prism Golds are the next PMGs, then maybe they are, because somebody says that they are, and it's like, but who says that they are? What if they're not? Like there's a lot of golds. There's a lot of golds numbered out of 10, whether it be, Prism or Optic or whatever. Panini makes a lot of numbered gold stuff. So anyway, I don't know. It's just, there's so much to narrative, that goes behind a lot of this stuff that I think it's interesting. It's intriguing because it's not, a lot of it is kind of just up in the air and a lot of it doesn't make any sense. It's just kind of how the hobby dictates certain things go. I hope to see that expand out. I like the idea of scarcity and rarity kind of driving it. So of course, when someone says gold prism, there's the scarcity attached to it, it's numbered. But the problem is that over the years we've watered down numbered, to where now numbered is not rare. There's a lot of numbered things. Now, gold is maybe the lowest on the numbered scale, but still, it's just another numbered thing. And if we're looking at Panini stuff, a lot of times it's just a different bordering. So you've got green and you've got gold and you've got all the different, you've got orange and you got purple, and they're all numbered. But I don't know. It's not a knock on Prism Golds, because I think they're cool looking. But again, it's just like, what are people going to, like in 10, 15, 20 years? That's all going to be determined. It's not going to be because a few people think that Prism Golds are amazing. It's going to have to play itself out. We'll see how it goes. I don't have any vinyl records. I actually bought, we're talking about Flippin' Steve, the big Pearl Jam lover, the guy that likes Pearl Jam. I bought a sealed, what I think is sealed, Vitality Pearl Jam CD. So I'm actually kind of going to the next thing where it's like vinyl records took off, but what about CDs? So I'm looking at sealed CDs. The problem though is that, is it resealed? That's the thing, is I don't know if mine's actually like sealed from 1994 or if it was resealed in the store. Was it resealed later on by somebody? That's something that maybe a grading company eventually would have to figure out for me. But I grabbed a few of the CDs. I don't have any, and that's not something that I'm buying lots of, hoarding, CDs, sealed CDs. But I just thought that was kind of a fun thing to grab and, see. And again, something from my childhood that I listened to. That was the middle school jams, Pearl Jam and Nirvana and that stuff. Yeah, VHS autographs and more. Yeah, VHS collecting. I've looked at that too, and I think I was looking at certain things like, there's some interesting, like original Jaws, or I was actually looking at horror stuff because I thought that'd be fun, like Friday the 13th, because I like scary movies. So I was like, oh, cool, maybe I'll get some sealed Friday the 13th. There's a grading company, I think it's like IGS or IGN. I just don't know enough about it. I don't know if they're considered a reputable one. It's just, again, it's so new, and so I don't, but I looked at it and the stuff is selling for, it's already like, an original from 1970s, like a few $1,000s. I'm like, no, I'm not going to take that kind of a risk on, on the VHS stuff. I like it. I think that it's cool. I get it. I like the history. Again, it ties into that 80s, 90s nostalgia monster that has taken over our culture. Because let's be frank, I mean, whether it be 8-bit coming out for the holiday movie, or it's the new Ghostbusters movie that's coming out, it's the new Halloween movie, it's the new whatever, it's just all 80s, 90s stuff reimagined and redone. There's very little stuff that's new. There's not a lot of new characters. And I don't know if that's, if that's ever going to change. I mean, even like the new stuff. Okay, Stranger Things on Netflix. Stranger Things is a new property. Those are new characters. It's all based on 80s stuff. It's like Goonies, mixed in with, aliens or something. It's just mixing it all together. It's all the same sort of deal. Yes, I like a lot of the original stuff. That I love Halloween as a holiday because we like to watch. We like to watch it. I watched the new Paranormal Activity movie. Was on Paramount, I think, is where we saw it. Yeah, I like scary movies. I'm not a gore person. I like the suspense, the thriller, the storyline behind that stuff. I think it's cool. And now there's just so many streaming options. You see a lot of, also, we got 1 year of HBO Max, which has been cool because you've had some good scary movies come out on HBO Max. The new Dune movie, again, Dune, blast from the past, Dune, that remake was pretty good. Yeah, Stranger Things I thought was really good. Season 1 was great. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some things that I think could have been done differently or improved on, but all in all, I like the fact that they're like fighting a monster in a shopping mall. We don't go to shopping malls anymore. They're definitely not like that the way that they are in that show. So, I think that's all fun stuff. Yeah, Dune was pretty good. I know. I missed the part that there was like 2 parts to it, and my brother was like, "Yeah, it said part 1 when the movie started." But I didn't catch. I was like, the movie's over. They haven't told the rest of the story. And then I was like, okay, there's a part 2. Okay, I get it. I thought the remake was pretty good, Ziggy. Yeah, I mean, I know. I wish it was all in one, but I liked the characters and the breakdown. It was definitely not a new story. They had some new little things that they threw in, but it was a true remake. Where it followed the original movie, kind of. Yeah, there's some slight differences, but it wasn't a complete redo. I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, the only thing though, I like the original story, but I like how the new age characters, like the villains and stuff. I like that they got what is it, Batista, or what, that wrestler is one of the bad guys. I like the actor too that's doing the Harkonnen, the guy that floats around. I like him. Um, yeah, Yeah, so interesting. I've been looking at older inserts. I've been looking at some different things. Older, I say like 90s. I've been looking at 90s. The ultra popular 90s basketball inserts. I'm looking at football inserts, kind of the stuff that people are buying in basketball. I'm looking at like, okay, what is that stuff going for on the football side? For important players like Barry Sanders, or so those are guys. That's the type of stuff I like. I've never been a big insert guy, so I've been trying to investigate that a little bit, and that's been kind of interesting. Yeah, I can't imagine there being. I hope we're at peak inserts. I kind of hope, because there's so many of them now that I don't want to see what peak inserts looks like if we're not in it now. It'll be like Noah's Ark of animals, like parallel. It'll be like choose your own. They'll have it to where they like print on demand, like choose your own parallel. You go online, and pick the animal, pick whatever parallel, creature it's going to be, and we'll print it off for you for a certain. It'll be like on demand, probably. That's actually not a bad idea. That direct to consumer thing, that's probably exactly what they're going to do. You want a super zebra wave gold bubbles? You can order one right here. It's $299, whatever. Dustin, are you familiar with that NBA Jam style shirt? You and Brad should do one. Yeah, I have a Larry Bird, Kevin McHale NBA Jam shirt. Kind of one of those. I think Homage did it. HOMAGE. They do good T-shirts. I'm pretty sure they did it. Yeah, that's the only one I've got. Yeah, that would actually be kind of funny. I wonder if you can do kind of a custom NBA Jam style shirt. Maybe I can figure out how to do it, how to order one. That would be cool. All right. I prefer the game worn jerseys versus the parallel. Yeah. Zebra, dragon skin, etc. Yeah. And then even on top of that, you've got the inserts, which are interesting. The rare, I've been looking at 90s, 2000 insert stuff. And the thing I like is what I'll do is I'll find an insert and then I'll go look up the box on eBay. So if it's 97, whatever, I'll go and I'll look up a box, hobby box or retail, whatever. And then a lot of times on the box, it'll say like that, this insert is 1 out of 24 packs. And this insert is 1 out of 50, and this insert's 1 out of 300. And then you look at the checklist, and then it's like, all right, there's 10 in this one. There's not that many, or there's 30 in this one. So if this is 1 out of 200 packs, and there's 30 or 50 on the checklist, it's going to be hard to get one of the stars on that checklist. So, and then you've got autos. You've got and then you've got patch autos. It's endless. That's what makes it fun, though. That's what makes it fun. Yeah, the 80s were the best. It is true. It is true. Oh, what was this? 30,000 in sneakers. I love it. I know people, there's such a knock on like the sneaker flippers, but I love those. I've got Jordan 9s. They re-released Jordan 9s, and you're a sneaker person, so I'm such a noob when I'm talking about this. I don't collect sneakers, but I had a pair of Jordan 9s in 1995 when I was 14. I believe they were released in 94 or 95. And I didn't keep the original ones, but I think in 2015 or 16, they re-released the same one. So I got the Carolina blue Jordan 9s, and then I also have like the black and red ones, the black, red, and white ones. And they're awesome. But I got them, I just got them used on, like, you can get them used on eBay that are in good condition. So I don't collect sneakers, but I love there's some really cool kind of the retro Jordan, some of those retro sneakers. So I can see the appeal. They do take up a lot of space in comparison to like cards, but I understand the appeal. I know, isn't it nice not having Brad just trying to talk over me? This is why I decided, I was like, you know what? I should just go by myself so that I can get a word in, um, and have it make sense. Sometimes you'll go off on a tangent. It's like, let's bring it back in. Let's bring it back in. I'm kidding. Brad's my boy. Brad's my boy. He's a good dude. Nines are super underrated if you're going to wear them. Going lightly used is the only way. Yeah. So I play basketball in them, but I only play indoors. And what's funny is when I was 14 and I had those shoes, they were $125 when I got them in 1994. And my mom was like, "You're not wearing those out on the concrete, and you're not going to tear them up in 2 months. Those need to last." That was the most expensive pair of sneakers that I've ever bought. And since I've never bought a pair of sneakers that expensive. And so they lasted years because I only wore them indoors. I only wore them indoors, and they lasted a long time. I wish I'd kept them because they were awesome. They were suede. They were really, really sweet. Yeah, it's just all in good fun, Ziggy. That the insulting is it's just the banter. We don't, if you know us, I don't take myself too seriously. Brad doesn't either. So it's, we can joke, and it's not, he doesn't take it seriously, and I don't either. Jordan 5s are my jam. The original Griffies. I'd have to look at that. I never had Griffies or anything like that. That's really cool. Yeah, I'll have to look at the Jordan 5s. I like a lot of the Jordan 1s are really cool. That the classic, Jordan 1s. I don't know. I like all that stuff. That's funny. Yeah, my dad was my dad was a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force, and his dad was also a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. And my dad's dad, my grandfather, was stationed in Iceland as well. My dad went to high school in Iceland when they were stationed there. It was funny. They were like in Iceland, and then they were in Vermont. Like culture shock. Oh, you want to watch a classic? Go back to Beastmaster. Remember Beastmaster from the 80s? Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's take it back. And it's campy. Look, it's not a great movie, but it is a good kind of sci-fi. There's some, weird, obviously. The 80s movies were just, they were so good because they were trying to get creative with special effects, and it was either like, whoa, crazy, cool, or it was like, whoa, that's disgusting, or like, whoa, that's terrible. Like, I think that's one thing I really like about it is they were still trying to figure out, special effects. So CGI, there was no CGI, to where they could just CGI it. So it's just like, all right, we're making clay monsters, and they're going to jump out, like Critters. Critters is another one. It's great. Tremors, Tremors from the 90s. Ghoulies, Ghoulies. It's all these like, campy, classic, scary movies. Yeah, exactly. It's so weird. You have to keep watching it. Like the witches in it are strange. The whole thing is weird. But yeah, Back to the Future, I still like to watch Back to the Future 2 in the background. I'll just be working, and I like having that on the background. I just think that's fun to watch, especially when a lot of the stuff that's in it like has come true. There's like things that they kind of called in that movie that are fun. I did not make it into the sports card documentary. No, I didn't. Brad's actually got some big things going on. He's got a documentary, he's got a podcast, some different things that he's doing in LA. I hope to kind of, do some of that stuff with him. I think there will be opportunities to do some collaborative stuff. Honestly, though, I enjoy what I'm doing, even if it's, just kind of the way that it is. This is more of kind of it's a hobby for me. There is a business aspect to it too, which is kind of fun, but I'm not doing it it's not for the business. It's just kind of, if it becomes that over time, then great. But I'm not going to reach, for any sort of opportunities, and I've turned down certain opportunities too. If it doesn't kind of fit what I'm trying to do, then I won't do it. So it all just depends. But Brad's got some good things going on. It's good. Yeah, so we'll see. But no, I wasn't included in that, unfortunately. But I think there'll be more of those things. I think, sports memorabilia, sports cards, collectibles, there will be more types of entertainment wrapped, coming, I'm sure. Yeah, me too. Me too. I think it's going to be cool. Of course, when you've got a lot of the original cast, except for Egon, RIP, Egon, I believe he did pass away. I think it's Egon. I think I'm getting the right character name right there. But I like the fact that they're bringing back a lot of the old characters. Who was the secretary? She was such a fox back in the day. I had like a kid crush on her. The secretary, they answered the phone. She's going to be back in it as well, I believe. Yeah, Weird Science had a babe in it too. I don't remember. Yeah, I can't remember her name. But yeah, there was some of those the 80s babes. Absolutely. More content creators should have you on. Love your perspective. Loved your conversation with Dakota Ryan. Which Ryan is in here? Did I miss? Is it breakout cards? Yeah, Hobby Champs, let me know that. Yeah, no, Dakota's great. I know. I wish I need to do more stuff with Dakota as well. Sports Cards Anonymous, very good channel. I really like a lot of the hobby people that make content. If you haven't noticed, I've had a lot of them on this channel, and then I collaborate with a lot of them. It's just fun, it's fun kind of getting to know people. We're all kind of in the same boat. We're all talking about the same things, and we have a lot of these same kind of memories from childhood, etc. So it's been a good time. Monster Squad. Yes. Monster Squad. Great movie. Gremlins. Yeah, Gremlins. Gremlins 2 was such a just again like a funny kind of 80s thing where they tried to go like futuristic with it, and it actually kind of worked. Like the Gremlins 2 was so different from Gremlins 1, and it could have been a total disaster, but it still kind of worked out. Like I still watch it. I don't know, it's good in its own way. But the original is the best for sure. Yeah, Pam Anderson was like the first. If you remember, Spencer Gifts had like the posters in the back corner. I remember when I was like 10, I'd go back there and hide and look at all the like the what was her name? Tiffany Amber Thiessen and the Pam Andersons and all the babes from those days. Yeah, no, 5 minutes of commercials. Yeah, he's got a good thing going. He's got a good thing going. And he's got his production value is really high. I like watching his stuff. I don't catch all of Jeff's stuff, but at Sports Card Investor, but he's got some good stuff. I like a lot of his content. I like his vlog stuff too, especially at the shows where it's like I don't make it out to a lot of those shows, so I like to catch kind of what's going on at different places. And he's traveling all over, along with a lot of like Ryan at Breakout Cards does a lot of that. I really like watching his stuff, and a lot of the vlog type stuff. It's cool to see what people are doing. It's hard to watch all of it, all the hobby content, because there's so much of it. But I do like the different areas. There's different types. That's good. So I just catch kind of pieces of different things. Card shop owners, card show vloggers, people like me that are more just kind of talking about like big picture things and ideas and different stuff. So yeah, it's all good. I tell you what, content there's a lot more of it than there was 18 months ago. A lot more of it. Cards, I produce 40-minute videos, takes 3 days to make, and I get 40 views. It's awesome. I like your stuff though, and you have some really nice stuff in your collection. I want that Avengers 1 that you've got. If you're ever looking to trade or sell out of that, contact me. I love that. I like too that there's people also that are in different types of collectibles, because that's how I am too. I love sports cards, but I'm into games, I'm into comics, I'm into different things. Always try to measure my girlfriends by Farrah Fawcett. Yeah, she was everybody's crush. Everybody's crush. Yeah, Farrah Fawcett was awesome. Anything that creates nostalgia and has a collectible aspect to it. Yeah. And the one thing too is I think we all have to be careful too that we don't fall too far into that nostalgia bucket. I check myself a little bit there because, like I said, I've got a family, I've got responsibilities. So when I'm making purchases, there are certain PC items, of course, where it's like I don't again, like I don't need it to 10x and go to the moon, etc. I just want to see it retain value, kind of small incremental gains over time. I'm fine with that, but I'm trying to be careful because there's some nostalgic things that I'm like, ooh, that's so awesome. But is that something that people are going to care about down the line the same way that I do? Maybe not. So I'll hold off on that. I'll look to other things. That's where I try to balance out the nostalgia thing, with buying and selling, et cetera, with buying this stuff. Because I am trying to buy a lot of things to hold for an extended period of time. So I'm always kind of thinking about who is going to be relevant. Is anybody going to want this? Would anybody want to buy this in 20 years? Am I buying at a price where someone might pay more than what I'm paying? Am I paying too much? All those things are things to consider. Yeah, the only trouble, so I love this idea. I think it would be a lot easier to do maybe in person. We've done these before where we've had 3, 4, 5 people on. Well, and look, Brad talks so much that it's even with me, Brad, and a guest, it's a lot to get a word in. I'm joking, but Brad is a talker. So that can be kind of the tricky part. You'd have to have kind of a moderator, I think, one person being the moderator, just to kind of get everyone's take and keep it moving. I think that would be the way to do it, is to have a moderator that's kind of, doing all of that and dictating the flow a little bit. But yeah, I think that would be fun to do. And it could be a variety of different people. I mean, there's literally probably 15, 20 content creators that I've been in contact with that I could probably contact and say, hey, would you want to do this? And they would be up for it. So yeah, I think that there's a lot of different opportunity, and you could have maybe that's something I'll do on my channel, is have a revolving, roundtable type thing where you've got, maybe it's 4 people on, but it's a rotation, to where you've got different people, different content creators, different collectors. That would be cool. That would be cool. And we don't see that. I can't think of, and there might be. I mean, I know like Hobby Hotline does something like that, but I'm talking about with it ever changing. Where it's like new people all the time. Because there's enough people, whether it be viewership or content creators, to do something like that. So I don't know. Yeah, that's a good idea. Oh yeah, like videos from the live chat. Yeah. Oh, that's okay. Getting a Griffey refractor or auto from the 90s is more fun than when a card doubles in value. Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't, I mean, look, I'm not upset when a card doubles in value, but also the last 2 years is not indicative of what it's been. And I'm not a long time hobby person that's been in for 20 years, but I got back in. Well, I was as a kid, I was a collector, but I got back in January of 2018. And so I got back in pre craziness. So I got to kind of see what a normal, market looked like. Now, it's still different now, to where you do have more demand. There is still more of a market today than there was in January of 2018, but it still is, it's similar in the sense that we're going back to more of like normalcy. I feel like, where yes, you will have gains on certain players, and there will be ups and some ups and some volatility and ups and downs, but it's not going to be the rocket ship that it was over the last couple of years. I don't think, anyway. I could be wrong. I think that there will be pockets of rockets, pockets of rocket ships. I just don't think it's going to be that every single player and like everything is, to the moon. I think it's going to be, more, segmented. I like when my 52 mantle. Oh, we're so happy for you, Mike Petty. Just rubbing it in with your 52 mantles. May's quadruples in value and Jackie Robinson's go up tenfold. Yeah. Yeah, no. And I believe, Mike, I think that you've commented on stuff before. You were in before, you've been in, so you probably got that stuff at a price point much lower than today's price points. I'm assuming. I believe that's right. Yeah, in case you just joined, my fantasy team is Russell Wilson, Christian McCaffrey, Calvin Ridley, Michael Thomas, literally like every single guy that's hurt or quit football is on my fantasy team. I've got nobody. It's like it's a skeleton crew out there. It's the worst fantasy year I've ever had, ever. And I thought actually, I was like, you know what? I picked a pretty good team. But that just shows you any given Sunday, any football season, it can go to hell. It can go away. Yeah, well, and that's just one example, the Henry Ruggs RPAs. Yeah, and that's just one example. I know a big question mark for people right now is Zion Williamson. Think if you're someone that's got serious cash on Zion Williamson. And look, he might be totally fine. He might just work his way through and figure it out, but I'm sorry, man, if you've got some huge cash on Zion cards, that's scary because he's just not. And the thing that's like crazy about Zion is he played good basketball last season. Like if you look at his statistics, his stats are great, but he had a foot injury kind of going like to end out the season. And then you're just stuck in this like, oh my gosh, is he ever going to be like, I feel like with Zion, it's going to be like every season, it's going to be like, okay, we've got a little, minor injury. Is he ever going to be the same player? Is he ever going to be the same player that he, and it's like, I can't ride those waves. Like those are for stronger willed people than me. I can't do it. So I can't imagine being big in on Zion RPAs and that sort of stuff right now. I think it's wild. And that's probably why I've just gotten more conservative, especially over the last 12 months, just with vintage stuff and more scarce stuff of established players. Yeah, it's just, the thing that stinks too is one of these guys is going to be amazing, whether it be, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Fields. One of these guys is going to come out of that pack and be like, win a couple Super Bowls or whatever. But the problem is that now they're just making too many cards of these guys. In my opinion, this is just my opinion. One guy talking. I made a video on it about Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow cards. That's the thing that really kind of concerns me is we're kind of entering into this space where it's not junk wax era in the sense that they're printing 10 million copies of one set, but they've just got so many different parallels and so many different sets that it all kind of equates to the same thing. It's just saturation. And then on top of that, you've got NFTs. So not only do you have sports cards, but then you also have Trevor Lawrence NFTs. You've got his sports memorabilia. You've got, signed footballs or helmets or whatever. I mean, it's just so saturated. And that's where, like, I love Joe Burrow. Actually, I think Joe Burrow is going to be a guy that comes out of this thing. I like Herbert too. I think Herbert he's starting to show that, like, okay, like this could be a guy. But you know what? He could also be Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan, look up Matt Ryan. He's like, what? Like, I think he might be top 10 all time in passing yards or something, top 15. He's right up there. But it's Matt Ryan. Like, you just can't get over the hump. And it's just, I don't know. He's a solid quarterback. He's had a solid statistical career. His cards haven't gone anywhere. So that's just kind of the, QBs, just football cards in general are scary, unless you're going after, the vintage greats, it's the legends. That's where football cards can be kind of fun, but speculating on some football can be fun too. It's just, there's so many minefields, pitfalls, just got to be careful. Yeah. Jordan Love starting in Green Bay. I think it's going to be short-lived. Obviously, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going anywhere. I think that'll be a few. Now, unless I'm missing the news, did I miss a headline? Because I know he's going to miss a couple of games, I believe. I don't. It'll be very interesting to see if the NFL like suspends him or something. I just don't see that though. He's just too. I almost feel like he's too big of a name. Maybe, I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, is Aaron Rodgers? Is he? And again, maybe I missed a headline. Is he out for the year or something? And I don't know it. Okay, so it's a 2-week minimum. Yeah, I don't see there being a massive fallout. I think that he'll be out for a couple of weeks and then he'll be back. Is my guess. I'm just guessing. So yeah, I know if I own Jordan Love cards, I would probably, like, just me, I'd probably sell them all right now. That's just me, just because it's like, who knows if he's going to get back? Like, when's he going to get back? Like in the game next? I don't know. And Rodgers will be back against Seattle. Yeah, actually, one guy that Dakota was talking about, Sports Cards Anonymous, that I agree with him on, Russell Wilson. I had traded with Flippin' Steve on an acetate rookie auto of Russell Wilson before the season, and I was actually looking recently. I was like, I wonder what like his Prism Auto rookie cards, like some of his more higher end stuff, or even like Contenders rookie auto, like higher end Russell Wilson stuff. Is it dipping? Because that's a guy that you know, is he going to be like a top 5 QB of all time? No, I don't think that he is, but he's a Super Bowl winner. He's been to 2 of them. He's got good stats. I think he's got a few more good years in him. I just thought that would be kind of interesting. I just wanted to follow like Russell Wilson's pricing just to see if there was some sort of a dip there on some of his more important cards, like his rookie, his like Contenders auto, or maybe like a Prism auto or something. Anyway, I don't know how you guys feel about Russell Wilson, but with him being out, I was looking for maybe like a dip on his stuff. Yeah, Matt Ryan was awesome at Boston College. He was awesome, and look, he's been an awesome NFL QB. It's just the NFL is a grind. It's tough. It's tough. He also hasn't played with like an elite defense in Atlanta. He hasn't played with like an elite offensive line. It's not just all, it's the ultimate team sport. Matt Ryan's just been kind of a victim of a mediocre franchise in Atlanta. I don't know anything about this tournament, and I'm not a baseball guy. Tell me more about this, and if anyone has any comments, I'd like to hear it. How drastic do you think Spider Tech rules will affect future pitching and hitting stats? I don't know. I'm not a baseball guy, so I don't. I would need to kind of defer to the chat on that one. Yeah, they were right there. They were right there, 28-3 as a Saints fan. It's kind of one of those things that we throw up. It's like it's not good sportsmanship, but it's what everyone kind of throws up to Falcons fans, 28-3. Saints fans do it all the time, 28-3. It's unfortunate for the Falcons, but as a Saints fan, I'm not sad for them. No mercy, no mercy for division rivals. We can't, they had their chance. Tom Brady did Tom Brady things. Oh, and there's Brian, just right in time with the Brady. Yeah, spider. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what it means or what it entails, or what's the purpose of it. Like, what's the goal? Why would baseball implement it? I don't know. Just going back to normal pitching, they got away with it for a while. What does that mean? Going back to normal pitching? Can you explain that? Buds and Suds 75, and this genuinely interested because I don't know anything about it. Rodgers does own the Bears. He does. He owns a lot of teams. He's good, except the Saints, 38-3. Little reminder, they've lost one game, and it was to the Saints. No more curveballs and sliders. Is that implemented? Is that a done deal? That seems kind of wild to me. They're just going to throw fastballs or changeups. So you can throw. Can you throw breaking balls? So you can throw fastball. You can't throw a curve or a slider. Oh, I didn't realize. Are they not? I thought they were already not allowed to use sticky stuff. Are they allowed to use sticky stuff now? And that now they're not? Because I didn't think they were allowed to use it. I got to admit, I mean, although like I know it's a joke, but at the same time, there was some fun watching the Mark McGuire, Ken Griffey Jr., Sammy Sosa home run race in what, 98? Was it 98, 99? It was fun to watch, and I know that's not what baseball needs, but it's like that was for me, and I don't watch a lot of baseball. I remember that time. That was a fun time. Okay, understood. Interesting. Okay, guys. I just looked up and we're an hour 20 minutes in. I didn't realize that that much time had passed. So I'm gonna actually get to bed here soon. We got Friday. We got Friday ahead. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Does anyone have any big weekend plans? The Saints play the Falcons. Speaking of Matt Ryan and the Falcons, so that's what I'll be doing on Sunday afternoon. Anybody have any big plans for the weekend or anything that you're or any kind of you might not want to share in case you don't want other people maybe trying to buy, but any kind of sneaky, under the radar type buys that you're looking at, or kind of cool sets that you found that you're intrigued by? Yeah, these are kind of the man, and people ask me about these all the time, and I'm so out of the loop on this stuff. I've got some soccer cards. My sister-in-law is a soccer coach, college soccer coach, and now actually works for with a pro team. So I know a lot about soccer because of her. But I'm not, I'm not a huge soccer person. I like watching World Cup. I like watching the Euros. My wife is from Italy originally, so we're pulling for. Well, it's funny because like my mom is British, and I went to kindergarten in England, and so like I was pulling for England in the Euros, and they were pulling for the Italians. So one of us was going to be unhappy, and it was me. So yeah, I watch. I would say for me, it's soccer. Oh man, I mean, it's soccer one and then a tie between F1, WWE, and MMA because I just don't pay attention to it. I just don't pay attention to it at all. I keep hearing about the F1 documentary I need to watch on Netflix. I did buy, it's funny. I started kind of a little bit of an uproar in one of my recent videos because I got a Mario Andretti card. This is the only racing card that I've got. And I was talking about him being an F1. I think I might have said F1 GOAT, which is not true, but more of like a driving GOAT. Like Mario Andretti as a whole, kind of as a, all of it. He's won Daytona 500. He's won F1 races. He's done all of it. He's won a zillion times. So, I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, for me, I have too many other things. There's just so many other things I'm into. Oh, is Alabama playing LSU? You know what stinks though is LSU. I don't think they're any good this year. So it's not like in years past, it's like a big matchup, but LSU's just not very good. Oh, a ghost hunt on Saturday. Yeah, my older kids went to one of those like haunted cornfields and they were asking me to go with them. I'm like, no, how about no? I like scary movies, but I'm not going out into a cornfield with guys in masks and chainsaws and stuff. No, I'll pass. I'll pass. They said it was awesome though. Tom Brady rookies, yeah. I like the Tom. I've got some Tom Brady rookies. I don't have any crazy ones. I don't have any real rare, valuable stuff. And then I like some. I like the inserts too. I look at different inserts for him. All about it. Ooh, a 6-hour paranormal investigation. That sounds like fun. Cool. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna get to bed. It's getting late. Um, the dog's gonna start wondering where I am. The dog sleeps on the couch. Is gonna start like sniffing around. So. All right, guys. I hope that you have an awesome Thursday night, Friday. We're heading into Friday. We've got a good weekend coming, hopefully. Oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Monopoly 7. Can I hear your thoughts on PWCC? Honestly, I'm not a customer of theirs. So it's kind of like, I know they had the big auction. There was, some were happy, some weren't. So I heard there was some deals to be had. Some people said that, stuff was about right price wise. I don't I'm not a I don't have stuff in their vault. I bought PWCC on eBay before, but just as like a default because they had so many listings. They had so many listings on eBay that I purchased. But do they have a PWCC tax? Yeah, I don't know anything about it. I just haven't done enough with. What I do want to watch though with Golden and with PWCC and some of these other platforms are their deals because all this stuff is just spread out and no one's paying attention to all of it. Meaning that like typically I buy on eBay, but like maybe I should pay attention to some of these other places in case there might be deals to be had, and I don't want to miss out on it. So that could be something where, I look at a PWCC or Golden or any of the other ones, anything else that pops up. If there is a deal to be had, then, we'll take a look at it. All right, guys, have an amazing night. Stay healthy, stay awesome. I will talk to you later. Have a good night.